Amelia Bedelia's last stand. The next day, Amelia Bedelia waited until just before lunchtime to open for business. This is chapter 8. She figured that by then people would be hot and thirsty and bored enough to want a glass of lemonade. Her parents came along to help. Her dad set up her lemonade stand while her mom unfolded the sign. They attached it to the bottom of the sign for Wild Bill's Autorama. It is lots of lemons. Okay, big, nice yellow and black sign. Looking good, said her dad. Terrific name, said her mom. It's perfect, said Amelia Bedelia. I squeeze a whole lemon into every glass. That's a lot. Amelia Bedelia was so proud of her sign. She admired it while her dad set up chairs in front of the stand. Thanks, Daddy, said Amelia Bedelia. Now my customers won't have to stand. This is more like a lemonade sit than a stand. Her father kept checking his watch. I have a surprise for you, he said. I called the television station and told them about your business. They thought it was a cute idea. They're sending their news team to interview you. Amelia Bedelia jumped up and clapped her hands. Really? Will they make a commercial for me? Nope, said her dad. You'll be a story on news at noon. That's way better than a commercial. It's the real deal. Dad and I are going inside to look at the cars for a few minutes, said her mom. We'll send some customers out here for you. Thanks, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll get ready. She cut lemons in half and put them in a big bowl ready to squeeze. Then she arranged the cups in ice. A few minutes later, a van from the Action News team pulled up. They were her first customers. A reporter and a cameraman walked up to the stand and introduced themselves to Amelia Bedelia. As she talked with them about her business, she made them each a lemonade. The cameraman started shooting the scene while the reporter began interviewing Amelia Bedelia. To truly appreciate what happened next, you have to have seen it on TV. Down at Pete's Diner, Pete and Doris always turn on news at noon for their lunch crowd. Here's what they saw. Ted Daly here, news at noon, right outside Wild Bill's Autorama, where another business is having its grand opening, an old fashioned lemonade stand run by this young lady. It's Amelia Bedelia, said Pete. A policeman who was having pie and coffee at the counter looked up and said, You know her, Pete? I had a run in with that girl in the park. Pete nodded and said, Officer O'Brien, be glad Doris served you that cherry pie you're eating. They looked back at the TV. Ted Daly told the viewers how Amelia Bedelia made her lemonade while the cameraman shot a close up. Amelia Bedelia makes every glass by hand. Just lemon juice, cool water, ice, and a bit of sugar, Ted Daly said. Amelia Bedelia handed Ted Daly a glass of lemonade. I use one lemon in each glass, she said. That's a lot, but it tastes better. That's why I call my business Lots of Lemons. As Amelia Bedelia pointed at the sign behind her, the camera pulled back so people watching on television could also see the sign for Wild Bill's Autorama. You folks at home take it from me, Ted Daly. Amelia Bedelia's lemonade may be a sweeter deal than you'll get at Wild Bill's Autorama. Amelia Bedelia was thrilled. Her dad was right. Being on the news was great. Her lemonade was going to be famous, and maybe, just maybe, she'd make enough money to buy half of a new bike. That's when the camera began to jiggle up and down. The cameraman could not hold it steady because he was laughing so hard. Back at the diner, Pete said, Looks like an earthquake at Wild Bill's. Doris covered her mouth with her hand and gasped, Gracious, Amelia Bedelia's sign makes Wild Bill's cars look like lemons. Pete shut his eyes and shook his head. Back at Wild Bill's, Ted Daly turned around to see what was so funny. He looked at Amelia Bedelia's sign too and doubled over with laughter. Then Wild Bill himself came out to see what was going on. Amelia Bedelia was so impressed to see him in person. He was a real celebrity. Howdy, fellas, said Wild Bill. What can I do for you? Are you in the market for a new car? Ted and his cameraman tried not to laugh, but that just made it worse. What's so funny there, fellas? Asked Wild Bill. Ted pointed to Amelia Bedelia's sign. He was laughing so hard he could barely stand up. Lots of lemons, read Wild Bill. That's a sweet idea on a hot day like this. Then the joke dawned on Wild Bill, too. Lots of lemons, he bellowed. Lots of lemons. I don't sell lemons. My cars are the best. My cars are not lemons. Of course not, said Amelia Bedelia. Cars are cars. Lemons are lemons. She handed him a glass of her lemonade. Here, she said, my treat. I'm not going to stand for this, he said. You don't have to, said Amelia Bedelia. Have a seat. That's why I brought chairs with me. Wild Bill bent down to look at Amelia Bedelia eye to eye. Little lady, he said, are you mocking me with your lemonade? Oh, he is upset. Adam. Problem. Oh, no, sir. You're famous, said Amelia Bedelia. She pointed at the TV camera. Everyone knows you, Wild Bill. Wild Bill looked straight into the camera. Is that thing on? He asked. His face turned from white as a ghost to red to white again. He strode through the camera, took off his cowboy hat, and used all 10 gallons of it to cover the camera lens. Television screens all over town went dark. Back at the diner, Doris and Pete and the policeman stared up at the blank screen. You're glad you're not Amelia Bedelia right now, Doris whispered to Pete.